Grinders, first baseball show of the day. We'll be talking baseball later on. The day's kind of cut in half on a Friday. We have 6 games on DK. I believe it's 4 on Fanduel. My phone is dinging like crazy with all the basketball notifications coming in. We'll be talking basketball later on as well. Myself and Chief. Yep, there's Jimmy Butler ruled out as well. Miami just throwing this game away. Geez, my phone is going nuts here. Well, I know we're talking baseball, but man, the basketball is going to get wild. James Harden ruled out. Miami just throwing this game away. And Wendell Carter's out. So that means Wendell Carter, I don't even want to talk with the Orlando stuff, but last night, in the middle of the night, we may or may not have, put some jelly beans on Brooklyn. Brooklyn actually playing a meaningful game for them. Their match number is 1 against Orlando. Orlando ruled everybody out in the middle of the night and then upgraded everybody with their fake injuries to questionable. And now I guess they're back out. What are you doing, Magic? What is the point? Mm-hmm. Why would they update all those guys to questionable only to roll them out an hour or 2 later? And they give them these fake injuries, like Wendell Carter's got a hip. Yeah, he's sure he does. I mean, he's got 2, but they're kind of fine. What's up, Will? I'm fired up about basketball. I'm fired up about baseball. You know what's beautiful about this baseball slate? It starts at 3 o'clock, 3:05 or 3:10 if you want to get all technical on me. But we have all the lineups. Every once in a while, you're going to get a scratch, right? That's going to happen. Somebody dings himself in warm-ups, that kind of thing. But all the lineups are out for today's 6-gamer, nice afternoon slate. How are you doing? We're here until, we're taking y'all straight up the lock. Of course, the Crunch Time crew will relieve us around, I think, 2:15 to 2:30. Yeah, I should know this. It's somewhere in the show notes. But
give or take.
Help me out here, Will. Save me. What time is Crunch Time crew coming in? 2:25. There you go. You got the Luuch and the great Dave Potts. Oh, chat. What's up, chat? Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things. I will drop the link in the chat for the people. Reference Potts' article all the time, the $1 Million Musings. Not ironically named. The dude's won $1 million, not once, but twice. It is the $1 Million Musings. It's free. It is free today. Not just the afternoon slate cover, but the night slate as well. You guys can read that at your own leisure, or you can multitask and listen to us and read that if you can make that work for sure. Will, I've said a lot of words. Welcome to the show, Chief. 6-gamer as far as baseball. Plenty of time for us to get comfortable and slow down a little bit here. But how are you doing? How are we feeling about today's 6-gamer?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. I've definitely I've been kind of up early this morning, obviously, trying to find the best lines. All the pick'em sites, they put them out, late at night. So I'm probably asleep sometimes. Sometimes I'm not. I was up last night, but I didn't feel like they had up enough. And by the time I got up this morning, I caught a few of them. And but a lot of those have since moved. But from a fantasy perspective, I actually like this little mini slate. I think there's enough strikeout lineups that we've got some semi ace pitchers, if you will, on this slate. Referring to Hunter Green and Zach Will, I don't consider them full-blown aces. They're like semi-aces to me. You got Lucas Giolito, who's like just a mid-range guy. And then you got Alex Cobb, who's probably similar to Giolito, but has a lineup that he can get some strikeouts today. So when you get a small slate, Dean, but you still have quality pitching, that helps me out. I get very excited about those types of slates because more often than not, it seems like on the small slates, the pitching is so crappy. It's crappy patties for pitching, but not today.
Was that a Krabby Patty pun? Is that what that was? I don't watch the SpongeBob, but I'm aware. I think I caught the reference at least. He likes Krabby Patties? Is that what he does for a living? Lives in the city?
Krabby Patties. But, yeah, Krabby Patties, but I substituted the word crappy. I think my vernacular is back intact today, which is good. So I should be able to explain myself pretty well. Yesterday, I don't know what was going on. I wasn't articulating very well. But today, I feel like I'm on. I'm focused. I'm ready to rock. So it should be a fun slate.
Producer Steve, if you don't mind, I went ahead and dropped this in our little chat. I told the chat, I don't want to be a liar to the chat. I told the chat I was going to go ahead and drop the link for the musings. And I'm currently logged in on my other Google sign-in. I have 2 different Google accounts, one for RG, and it doesn't matter. But the point is, I can't drop it. I can't talk to chat. It says create a channel to join the chat. What does that even mean? I got to create a channel. I'm signed in. Why can't I just talk in the YouTube chat? That's so strange. How do you create a channel? I'm in a channel, whatever. I don't understand all these technicalities, but it's not allowing me to type in the chat. Long story short. So producer Steve, if you don't mind, I dropped it in there, and feel free to please drop the musings and Ross weather as well. Tonight, we'll be talking about San Diego and Atlanta. This is Ross' first challenge, by the way. It's funny. Roth was talking yesterday, and he's like, I heard him on his show yesterday. He's like, yeah, man, I really enjoyed the baseball shows this season. I'm not really sure why. You know why, Roth? Because you haven't had like the big sweat. There's been no weather sweat yet. He's just enjoying himself and chilling. San Diego, Atlanta, the night slate now is currently orange yellow. If you're not aware, if Ross color structure, like orange is just, it's scary, not as scary as red. And the first color it happens to be the one that's dominant. So orange yellow is more dicey than yellow orange. Green is good. Everywhere else is green. As far as our slate we're talking about here, Will, the 6-gamer, it's all green as well. Yeah, just want to note that. Feel free to read that at your own leisure there in the chat. And thank you for dropping that in there, producer Steve. You know what's so strange is Siri is now like typing all the words I'm saying right now. I hit a button on my Mac. This is so odd. Okay, it's throwing me off. I'm like, why are these words saying exactly what I'm saying? Technology is wild, Will. This is the point here. Give me the screenshot. You mentioned Hunter Green. I love Hunter Green. And I saw in Dave's article, he was kind of talking about, he's comparing him to Robbie Ray to some degree. You know, big strikeout guy, but also will give up fly balls and some homers and big variance as far as his potential outcome. Biggest K rate in the slate is Hunter Green, 30.9%. He does give up 48.5% fly balls. Fly balls tend to turn into homers. 16.1% home run, the fly ball ratio last year. A little bit high. Of course, that ballpark does him no favors there in Cincinnati. So he, let's see, homers per 9. Do I have that in my column? I don't have. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 1.72. That's too many. That's a lot. But of course, the upside is, real as well. Jumping in Philadelphia, it's a slight ballpark downgrade, but it's also a hitter's ballpark. Derek Hall, by the way, going to be gone for a while. The replacement, well, I guess he was going to play anyway alongside Harper to some degree. He's dinged for Philadelphia. So Philadelphia really hurting. Hoskins out for the year. Harper coming back at some point. Who knows? And now they lost Hall, late bloomer, 29, 30, 31 years old, whatever he was. Banged out a bunch of homers late last year. They've lost some power. I think that's Roger Clemens' kid, Cody, is now playing for Philadelphia. Top half is obviously pretty solid. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Big Bopper, Realmuto, Castellanos, Stott. I don't know why Stott hits in front of Baum. Well, I guess it's because they're doing the left-right thing. The back end's really bad, though, of Jake Cave and, Cody Clemens and Brandon Marsh. I like Hunter Green a good bit, but like you said, I don't know. He has ace stuff, right? He can be an ace at any given day, and he can strike out 10 or 11 or 12, but he also can give up 2 or 3 homers. The other side of that game is kind of like a little less sexy version, but certainly steadier version in Zach Wheeler. Mm-hmm. People are probably going to ask, can you play 2 pitchers in the same game? Doesn't that kill your upside? Like, the win is nice, sure, but it's only 4 points. And if it's a 1-0 game in the 7th inning, they're both pitching spectacular, I'm okay punting off the win, the 4 points, when you consider the upside of Wheeler and Green. And also, it's not hard to get them both in your lineup, just the way the salaries are. And they're, to me, I think they're the 2 clear best pitchers in this slate. Do you feel the same way?
I think generally speaking, I think the answer is yes. Like Hunter Green, like Zach Wheeler, I think Giolito is probably going to be in the same category as them today. And for me, Alex Cobb, I wish I knew where his pitch count was. I'm hoping they just kind of pulled him because he was facing the Yankees and maybe get hit around a little bit. But I think Cobb has some value. But all in all, I mean, if you ask me straight up who's got the most strikeout stuff, it would definitely be Green and Wheeler. Green's just very cheap on this slate, way cheaper than what Zach Wheeler is. So Wheeler would definitely be, I think, the top guy for me in terms of probably overall long-term steady skills that we've seen and proven. Green definitely probably has some work to do, but I think he's too cheap. Like, Hunter Green shouldn't be cheaper than Jose Urquidy today. And I think that's the big mistake, and I think that's what's going to force Green into us playing him a little bit more than maybe usual. If he was 9,500, I don't think we'd have quite the same interest, but at 7,600, he's too cheap.
So our current ownership, Wheeler's getting 59% on DK. You got to roster 2, obviously. That's a huge big boy number. A little surprising that Alex Cobb is getting 27%. You kind of mentioned him.
It's not, though. He's going to get the strikeouts. It's just, does he get through the innings? The strikeouts will be there today for Alex Cobb.
Let's pull up the old plate IQ, and let's see. You're talking about the strikeouts for Alex Cobb against Kansas City. Kansas City has been shut out 3 times this year, for what it's worth. Their offense has been kind of sputtering. If you look at that plate IQ, there's only one player in the green as far as WOBA. There is some power bats here, obviously. Vinny Pasquantino, Vinny Linguini. What is it? Tortellini Thursday, I suppose. Is that what it is? Sure, we'll make that up. Why not? You got to keep it the scheme of the same letter. Of course, Fettuccine Friday. Make sure you consider. No, wait, it's Friday. What? I forgot. It's Fettuccine Friday. Forgot it's Friday. I'm happy it's Friday because it means today is the last day we're doing a basketball, baseball, a crossover show later on today. You're going to be joining me for that. Don't laugh too much. You're going to love it.
I know. I'm aware. I am aware.
I believe Bobby Gomes. Oh, wait, Witt is not in the lineup according to Mr. Gerg? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I got to hit refresh because my projected lineup. Okay. I just didn't hit refresh. I'm
Massey, Perez, Pasquantino, Isbell, Dozier. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Cobb is.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, I like him today. Yes.
For what it's worth, I like to lean on the bat from Derek Hardy. Derek Hardy is currently projecting Cobb at around like the ability to throw 92 pitches. So this may change, obviously, as information comes in. But the bat does not feel terribly concerned with the pitch count for Cobb. What did he throw his first game? Let's see. How many
70,
pitches did he allow?
70, I think it was around 75-ish.
76.
Yeah.
And generally on the ramp up, they can go like 15 more than the previous start, right? Three and 2/3. So yeah. I suppose he can throw 90 or so. Obviously, the ballpark in San Francisco, excellent environment. Specific to the weather today, I was looking at let's see, Weather Edge. Just looking at if there's anything interesting or of note for. Go ahead.
Well, Dean, let me plug this in while you're talking weather. So the thing I like about Alex Cobb, when you're kind of looking at the overall numbers, nobody on this team is hitting splitters well. Now, that's limited batted ball events, but they're not hitting splitters well. So I'm not really concerned. I think that'll be one of his go-tos in terms of trying to get these guys out today. So I like Cobb today. I like Cobb more than Hunter Green for what it's worth. But Hunter Green he has more strikeout stuff. But I do think Cobb gets the strikeouts today.
Okay, let's go ahead and check out the plate IQ. I gave it a refresh, and now we have the official Kansas City lineup, and there's a lot of strikeouts. Outside of Pasquantino, who's been a lot of contact, and Lopez. Lopez is annoying, but there's no power there, right? He'll just pop out and fly out and ground out, that kind of thing, and punch a single here every once in a while. 13.2% as far as striking out versus righties last season. Pasquantino, 11.8%, but otherwise, like Melendez leading off, 27%. You got Massey at 25%. No power either. Obviously, Sal Perez can bang it at any ballpark, and there's a power threat there, but he'll strike out as well. Isbell's a good K guy. Dozier as well. JBJ, no power. Duffy, no power. And you combine that no power with the ballpark, and it just doesn't. Unless Cobb gets BABIP'd, he feels really, really safe. I like it. I'm definitely going to be. I'm not sure if I haven't had a Green. The interesting thing about Green is it's kind of that Robbie Ray rule, the old Robbie Ray rule, I suppose. If he's going to be popular, you might want to be under, and if he's going to be not very popular, you might want to be over. But it's sort of hard for him not to be popular on this slate, just because there's only 12 dudes throwing baseballs, and some you just cross off right out right away. Correct. So Green's getting 25%. Oh, yeah. So Wheeler, Cobb, Hunter Green, Giolito at 16%. I'm just not a Giolito guy. I think his name is sort of sexier than actually his numbers. It's sort of weird because he was once the worst pitcher in baseball, and then he was kind of the best pitcher in baseball for a year, and now he's fallen back to somewhere in the middle, I suppose. What's your official Giolito take? Good ballpark, obviously, to pitch in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh lineup, not terribly threatening. There are plenty of Ks there, 24.3% striking out collectively. Cruz is back in. I thought he left the game the other day, but I guess he's good to go. Giolito's entered the conversation. Where do you have him?
So Giolito's probably he's close to the top of my list today. So, I mean, I do just like everybody else, Dean. Like, if he was facing a full-blown Houston team with Brantley back and Altuve back and, a slightly lower K lineup, I'm probably not going to be as interested. I mean, he's got a matchup with the Pittsburgh Pirates today who, there's strikeouts to be had in this lineup as well. As long as he doesn't walk one too many guys too many times early, the strikeouts are going to be there. So I like Gio a lot. If he can have good location today, once again, good location, keep the walks down in this matchup, and he'll cruise. So I like him a ton.
25.4% Ks, which is good, but it's not elite, but it's good. Like you said, the walks are kind of troublesome at 8.6%, a little bit too high. As far as Pittsburgh, how patient are the Pirates? McCutchen will take a walk, 10%. Santana at 13.3%. Suwinski in a small sample, 11.9%. There are some patient hitters.
But he's also got a 29% K rate. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like, it's very, very interesting. I think the strikeouts are there for what it's worth.
No, I agree. But I think I have Giolito behind Cobb, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Giolito's absolutely behind Cobb today.
What are you doing? You're making a single entry lineup today? You mass entering? What's the plan? How are you attacking this slate?
Yeah, single entry for sure.
Yeah, one of my favorite contests, myself and Blender, we've been talking about it the past couple of days, the 121 on DK. Just a beautiful contest. I love the payout structure as well. We finished second the other day. No, we were second. I think we fell to like fifth or so. But thankfully, it's not one of those steak knives for fifth place and like 4K for second. It's a flat payout, so it wasn't so terrible. Other pitchers that are worth considering, Aaron Zavalli, who was super chalky in the day he pitched just because the way the slate lined up against Oakland. He got his face fully punched in by the Athletics. Today he's taken on this Seattle. But what's the upside in Zavalli, right? He's sort of fine if things go well. The Ks are okay, but nothing spectacular. Logan Gilbert's a really good pitcher, but I don't know if I want to pick on Cleveland. I believe this is a team he faced the first time around, and he did pretty well. It is, right?
He did. Yep, he did pretty well, and he did. That's correct.
But okay, and good for him. And I like Logan Gilbert, but look at the strikeouts. You look at the plate IQ. Quan is just somebody I don't want to mess with, and it's just all up and down this lineup. There's just no Ks outside of Zunino. Zunino, of course, the big K guy. Obviously, when he hits the baseball, it goes really far sometimes. So there's a threat of him banging out a homer. But J-Ram is just so annoying, spectacular at the plate. He'll take a walk. He doesn't strike out. He'll hit home runs.
Yes, secretly, Jose Ramirez is probably my favorite player in baseball. I really like him as a player. Just a good, steady guy. He has some power, but he's just got such elite on base skills, getting on base. He's one of my favorite players, man. I really like Jose Ramirez a ton.
Nationally, I mean, we know obviously the DFS people, the fantasy people, but nationally, he's probably one of the most underrated players in baseball, if not the most underrated player in baseball.
Yeah,
just a spectacular player, and probably something to do with him being in Cleveland. Not on the most. He's not in New York. He's not out in LA. Not a lot of glamour there. But love Ramirez, and don't really like picking on him if I can avoid it. Not a lot of power in Quan's bat, but he's going to put the ball in play. He's going to take a walk. He's not going to strike out. He's annoying if you have the pitcher against him. I like Gilbert, but I don't feel like it's something I have to do. I'm okay. I'm in I don't know how many lineups are going up, a split off. I'm in a bunch of single entry, 3 entry stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to just run with 1 or 2 or 3, but I might make 4 and just make, just put it in less contests, that kind of thing. I don't think I'm getting the Gilbert is the long story short. I'm not making enough lineups to justify Logan Gilbert. I think he can be fine. He's a good pitcher, but I'll check back in 5 days.
I think if you're splitting hairs between Gilbert and Giolito, I think most will take Giolito today, and that's for sure the right call.
Mr. Gerg in chat. What's up, chat? Join the conversation. We want this to be as interactive as possible. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why we're right. Tell us, hey, like, why are you ignoring so-and-so? Why no love for this guy? Why didn't you mention this dude? And we're happy to talk about him. We'll be talking stacks soon enough, stack strategy in a second. Obviously, we're knocking out the pitchers first. Mr. Gerg said he had to turn off those NBA notifications. Yeah, my watch is dinging like crazy. Also asking if you can play Wheeler and Green together. We addressed that already. I didn't yield to do it. I assume you're fine with that, playing Wheeler and Green in the same lineup. That's cool with you?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Green's cheap today, so should not have any problems making that happen.
Would you consider is the slate small enough? And we know the deal with Hunter Green, like he can give up a homer or two and also kind of get there. Would you consider rostering a player against your pitcher? Like you don't have to do it, but you can. I think maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't think this is the spot for me though. Like, I don't think I'm going to do it. Well, I take that back. If it's anybody, it's Trey Turner because he doesn't need the home run to get there. If he gets on base, he'll probably steal. Somebody will bring him home eventually. If I was going to roster one guy, it's Trey Turner, but that's probably about it for me on Philly.
I was thinking Schwarber. That's kind of where my head was at.
Well, here's my thing. If you think Green is going to get into some trouble, so he could very well get the Ks and still give up 4 runs today. And I got to think Trey Turner's involved in that and Schwarber. So I get it. I think if I'm playing Green, I don't actually let me clear this up. I actually don't think I'm taking Philly against him because I feel like if they get to him, he's probably having trouble today. So I probably just want the Philly stack versus Hunter Green in that particular lineup. If that makes any sense. You get what I'm saying? Like if he's giving up runs, I think Philly's getting to him if that's the case. I don't think there's too much gray area on this slate. Like if there weren't other guys that could get Ks and I think not give up as many runs, I might be a little bit more interested. But I don't think this is a slate to play Green, him give up 4 runs, and you've got a Philly stack or 2 or 3 guys against him. I don't think this is a slate for that.
The other thing with Turner in his wheels, right? Like, let's say Turner walks or gets a single, he steals second, he steals third, and he's stranded on third. Like, that didn't hurt Green, really. And Turner's accumulating all these points.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm telling you.
And your pitcher's not dinged. Hunter Green last year gave up 10 stolen bases in 125 innings, which is like you can run on him. He gave 1 in his first start this year for what it's worth. And Turner,
but Trey Turner is the exception. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
He's
the exception. It doesn't matter who's up there. Like, okay, you think you got me out? We'll see. Mr. Slick Slide himself will just be at second before you know it.
It's funny. I was thinking the same thing. Let's see how good producer Steve is, how quick he can pull it up. But I'm sure there's all the gifs on who's got a sweeter slide than Trey Turner. Like when he slides to home, it looks like fake almost. Like it's just so smooth.
Well, look, here's the thing. He pulled off another one the other night on a hopper. It was like a bloop single or double. It was a bloop single, and he couldn't catch it. He slid, caught it backhanded, was blowing a bubble with his chewing gum, turned and slung it into first. I'm telling you, man, the guy's good. He's good.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Philadelphia has him for the next like 7 or 8 or 9 years or something like that. All those deals in the offseason were everybody signed like an 8-year deal, it seemed like. Machado and Bogarts and Judge. Slew of players. In like DFS in like 10 years, we're going to be like making fun of Trey Turner, like 39 years old and 40 years old. Remember, it's like Cabrera today, basically. But all right. Anything else that we should work our way down as far as pitchers? Let me give a refresh as far as our ownership, see if anything has changed. I don't know if it has, but want to be on top of it if something were to be a little bit different. Let's see. By the way, we're focusing on DK. Feel free to touch on FanDuel. FanDuel's got a smaller slate and the prize pools it's not as big. So I imagine most people are playing on DK, but if you have any FanDuel questions or specific to the site, by all means, let us know in chat. But I'm personally not playing on FanDuel today. As far as their early baseball slate, the prize pool, what I saw was unspectacular. There you go. It's a nice way of putting it, I suppose. Yep. All right. So as far as the ownership, nothing's really changed here. 59% for Wheeler, 27% for Cobb, 25% Green, Giolito at 16%, Savali at 16%. I will play Giolito before I'll play Savali, assuming they're the same ownership.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it. Like, I'm not playing Sonny Gray. Like, that's no way. No way am I playing Sonny Gray against Houston. Not happening. I think you could play Urquidy. I think you can. I don't think I will. We touched on Logan Gilbert, Clark Schmidt. Two last names. Bullpen guy. I don't like picking on Baltimore.
Can I talk about Clark Schmidt a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
I think we'll have some situations where we can play Clark Schmidt this season, right? Like, he's really not like a bad pitcher per se. He's just going to keep developing. Once again, we'll have some situations where we can play him. I don't think today is that day. But when we start getting him against guys like the Pirates, right, that's a situation where I think we can play Clark Schmidt. And I'm not expecting his price to pick up any. When we get him against the Royals and teams like that are going to swing and miss a ton, I think we're going to have some opportunities. Once again, I don't think today is that opportunity. I definitely don't want to pick on him against Baltimore in Baltimore today. It is cool weather. It's not like crazy hot weather, but these guys, they got a young team, but then they threw in some other guys, like you get an Adam Frazier down there who's pesky at the bottom of the order. Santander, like they've got a pesky enough lineup to give him some trouble. He'll get some strikeouts today, but I think he's also going to give up some runs. So I don't think Clark Schmidt's necessary. I'd absolutely just be playing Alex Cobb over Clark Schmidt in any situation.
For what it's worth, he's projected for the fewest pitches thrown today in the bat. Like I said, transitioning from the bullpen, I think he threw mid-70s. His first start, 82 is the projection right now. And that Baltimore lineup is, it's just not one I really want to mess with. Cheese pointed this out in his article, by the way, if you're considering stacking Baltimore. New York, I think there's only one lefty bullpen arm right now. It's Wandy. What's the dude's name? I think it's one of the a veteran. Since I brought it up, Wandy Peralta. That's who it is. Former starter, kind of a long man. Otherwise, they're all right-handed in New York as far as their bullpen guys. Somebody in chat did say they're interested in Urquidy. Neil says Urquidy looks like a good GPP play to me. He's fine. It's just I didn't mean to just sort of throw him away. How do you feel about Urquidy? My issue is he's just behind the other guys. There are some Ks in this Minnesota lineup. Not a great K pitcher, 20.1%, control guy, just 5.6% as far as walks. That's really good. Ground balls are not spectacular, 37.1%. But, he's just sort of fine. But
I'm not going to group him in the same category as Luzardo. So I think, we saw Luzardo kind of mow this team down the other day. But Luzardo is still a high K pitcher. He just, he's going to get hit around a lot, right? Or from time to time. But Luzardo's been a good prospect even when he was with the Athletics. So I'm not buying the fact that Urquidy is going to pull off a Luzardo performance today. So I don't want to overvalue that. So Urquidy's just, I'm not playing him. And then Mr. Wallace Crenshaw, he said, thoughts on Savale and Cobb. Yeah, Wallace Crenshaw, I love that. Said thoughts on Savale and Cobb, and then a San Francisco, Philly, Baltimore stack. I don't think Savale is in the conversation today. He really doesn't have crazy upside anyway, and I don't think picking on Seattle is the way to roll. Not with him. So I'd much rather maybe find some money to play Giolito, and it's baseball. You can definitely find the money. I'd be playing Giolito. I'd be playing Green. I wouldn't play Savale over any of those guys today.
The argument is there's a lot of Ks in the Seattle lineup. Savale is a pretty decent strikeout pitcher, not spectacular, 23.4%. And the Seattle lineup is 25% strikeouts versus righties last year. But I get if that's your argument, I suppose. And he's asking about stacks. Let's kind of talk about stacks. But before we do that, just give me the summary. Somebody just tuned in late. They tuned in 2 minutes ago. Give them your pitching summary.
So my pitching summary, I'm going to be rolling with Zach Wheeler as the de facto guy to play today. If that's, if you've got one guy to say, okay, how do we feel about it? I'd take Wheeler. Hunter Green is probably slightly underpriced for his K upside, but he will have some control issues from time to time. My favorite pitcher, probably in this lower range, is Alex Cobb at 7,400. I've got him ahead of pretty much everybody, probably except Wheeler, because Wheeler also has a leash. So that's the other thing. Like if Wheeler's at 88 pitches in the 6th, and he's gone 6 clean innings, the Phillies may very well let him come out for the 7th at 88 pitches clean. I mean, if he's been unhittable. So yeah. I'm kind of accounting for that as well, which is why I feel like he's probably the top tier guy on the slate. Next down for me is Cobb at 7,400. I feel like this is a good spot for him. Like Green, like Giolito. Logan Gilbert is good, has a bad matchup, so we're probably going to avoid him. Definitely not playing old man Rich Hill. I don't care if he got 6 strikeouts the last time out. Urquidy is blah. Sonny Gray is nah. Clark Schmidt is just a relief guy that we don't need to play today. And Dean Kramer, who we did not mention at all, is facing the Yankees, and there was no need to mention him. We shouldn't be playing him on this slate. That's my overall synopsis of pitching for the
Love
day.
it. We basically agree. I did want to mention, and I'm not sure if you did. I apologize. I had to write something real quick. The Wheeler matchup, we kind of mentioned we like him, but specific to the matchup, the Cincinnati lineup they're rolling out today, there are a pile of strikeouts, 27.8% collectively as far as Ks. He's a good strikeout pitcher, 26.6%. Good control guy, 5.5%. Like you said, he can go 6, 7, 8 innings possibly. I'm not going to call the CGSO, but certainly that's possible. Negative ballpark shift for Cincinnati, minimal, because it's still a good hitter's ballpark there in Philly. But since he's still really, really good, the Ks though are spectacular as far as the upside for Wheeler. When you look at the Cincy lineup, outside of Friedel, everybody else in at least the 20s. Barrero, 43% strikeouts last year. 43% of the time, this guy was striking out in 135 innings against righties. And not only that, when he's hit the ball, he's still not doing anything because he has no power. None. Like, I don't even know where they got this guy from, but no power, and he just flat out strikes out a ton. So just love seeing him there at the bottom. You only probably get him, you might get him 3 times. If you get him 3 times, things are going really well, right? You tend to get the guys up top 3, the guys down low 2. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the sticks. Let's talk about the stacks. Your favorite stacks. And, we kind of talk about stacks when we're talking about hitters because it's all sort of the same conversation. We're not saying the stack Cincinnati when we're saying we like Wheeler, obviously. I do think, it's one of those you can talk out of both sides of your mouth with Hunter Green. Like we touched on playing one guy against Green. You could play a stack against Green as well. Just load it up and hope for like some bad homer in the fly ball stuff for Hunter Green. And you get yourself Turner, Schwarber, Realmuto, Castellanos, maybe Baum or something like that. Don't mind doing that, but certainly Green is spectacular. Do we like the Yankees? Who is your favorite stack on the board?
Dina, let's play the guessing game on this. Well, I guess we're about to the end because crunch time's going to be coming in. Never mind.
We got 20. Nope. We got 20 minutes. We got time.
Okay, so yeah, Dean, who do you think is my favorite stack? Because I think. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man. Do you know the Muffin Man?
I don't know that. I got your SpongeBob reference. I don't know if I know who the Muffin Man is. I feel like I've heard that before. Give me a second clue.
No, it's the White Sox against Rich Hill. Old man Rich Hill is Muffin Top. Listen, get out of here. Thank you. I will be playing the White Sox today. I'm expecting to have eye ownership. If you're going to tell me Rich Hill is going to come out here and get six more strikeouts today, forget it. That's not happening. Love the White Sox. Load me up. I mean, Tim Anderson, Robert, Vaughn, Yasmani. This should be scoring galore. Yes, Pittsburgh. I know it's not the best park in the world. It doesn't matter when the guy is serving up meatballs. And that's what we're going to have. The Muffin Man himself, Rich Hill, is going to be serving up meatballs to the White Sox, folks. Love the White Sox today.
How old is Rich Hill? Can you tell me?
I think Rich Hill is 39.
No.
How old is he?
43.
Listen, my boy Wallace says Blake Snell looked like the Muffin Man yesterday. Yes, these guys are going to be serving up meatballs and muffins across the plate all day long. Oh,
I didn't play last night, but that was a perfect opportunity to take advantage of Snell and he's another high variance guys. And he was facing a good lineup too, Atlanta. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I think Atlanta got to him pretty early. I'm not sure if it was homers or not, but yeah, like for like a 2 or 3 game slate, you're absolutely supposed to like light up, and you take the L, so be it. But that's an opportunity where if he was heavily owned, you're supposed to play yourself a pile of Braves. Yeah, I want to pick on Hill as well. It's just that I don't love that ballpark. I'm okay with Chicago though. I don't really know who my favorite offense is. To me, I think it might be Baltimore, possibly. Although I hate that ballpark for righty power now, which is what they did out there in left field.
You don't like the Yankees? I feel like most people are going to be on the Yankees today. I think the name value of the Yankees is like the de facto chalk stat.
I like the Astros too. I don't like the weather here in Minnesota, but 49 degrees, the wind's blowing in. Let's see if there's anything changing as far as the weather. Weather Edge. I was combining Weather Edge and Plate IQ in my head. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. 56 games in Baltimore, negative home runs by as far as 23% when the weather is played out the way it is today. That's kind of the state of the slate, though, right? Weather is bad basically everywhere. 58 in Baltimore. Kind of a crosswind, home run subdued. Philadelphia, good pitching weather in there today. 58 similar games with similar weather, 13% hit as far as weather. 9-game sample in Minnesota, really not much to go off, but 49 degrees and 8 miles per hour coming in dead center. But that's kind of the slate. I'm not a Sonny Gray guy, and this Houston lineup is good, and that's sort of my analysis, right? Also, you're locked in. You're locked in with those 9 innings. If things go poorly for Minnesota, you still have the 9th. I like New York, and they moved the fences back in last year for Baltimore in left field. And okay, so instead of Judge hitting the ball in the 17th row, he's hitting it in the 10th row, right? When he gets it, he's still going to homer. He just might not get the cheapie that he sometimes gets in Yankee Stadium. Is that the highest total on the board? 4.45 for New York, I think it is. 4.51 for Chicago, your White Sox. The Giants at 4.78. We should acknowledge their existence. I want to see how many lefties are in that Kansas City bullpen, because we're rolling out. The Giants are rolling out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lefties. And certainly they're one of the teams, Tampa, they're super ambitious as far as being willing to pinch hit their guys when the situation calls for it. Let's check out that Kansas City bullpen. How do you feel about the Giants? It's kind of weird. Obviously that ballpark is not spectacular for hitting. Wind blowing out a little bit to left field, 55 miles per hour. But I think the way they constructed that ballpark, wind is kind of not much of a factor. Let's take a peek at this Royals bullpen if we can find it. 3 lefties and only one of them worked yesterday. So pretty good chance we see some lefties coming in. Just note that. Doesn't mean it's a guarantee that a guy like Conforto or Wade, Sable's probably a pretty big pinch hit risk. The bat has these things. I'm curious what we have as far as the biggest pinch hits risk on the slate. You have a thought as far as the Giants? Anybody else you want to expand on? Anybody else you want to throw into the conversation as far as team stacks?
I think Cleveland's on the list. I know Gilbert's good, but when we're talking about a team that doesn't strike out a ton, I'm more than willing to get involved with these guys. I think this is a spot where Cleveland can single and double you to death, right? You know what I'm saying? They might not hit a bunch of home runs, but and Dean, the other thing too that I think is very interesting about baseball this year, and I saw this. I was watching the Yankees-Phillies game with Cole versus Aaron Nola, and Anthony Rizzo comes up to the plate. Nola gives him one, he just gets good contact on it, pokes it through in the right field on the pull, right? Well, last year, and they were mentioning this, last year he would not have gotten that hit because of the shift, right? So the lack of the shift, I think, could open it up for high contact teams like Cleveland. When you look at these numbers against just fastballs in general, 96%, 78%. 88%, 88%, 79%, 84%. Then, of course, you got Zunino at 69. Jimenez at 69 and Zunino at 56. But then you got Miles Straw at 88. But this is a fairly high-contact team, low strikeout team. And some of these balls, that these switch hitters have, where the lefties like Kwan and Rosario and Naylor and Bell, they can poke those balls through this year and pick up singles and doubles. So I think Cleveland is a team that interests me today. probably won't be as appealing on paper, but just thinking through baseball, their team that's going to steal bases as well. I like what they can offer us if Gilbert just has a rough day. They're seeing him, basically the second time in a week.
Biggest guy as far as pinch hit risk, according to the bat, and do support Derek Hardy. Get yourself the bat. Is Romy Gonzalez. Then Blake Sable. I mentioned him, but when lefty comes in, obviously if the game's like 10-2, they might let him stick around. But if it actually matters, the bat matters, it's bases loaded, they bring in a lefty. Like Sable is as good as gone. Massey coming in at 28%. You're probably not rostering him anyway. He is batting second versus Alex. He's super cheap, I guess. He's in a good spot in the lineup, and he's super cheap, but I don't necessarily want to pick on Cobb, so I'm not that ballpark either. Did it mention as far as the umpires? People like the umpire data sometimes. Let's see, we have as far as the extremes. Was there any extremes? I don't know if there was any extremes. Yes. Extreme hitters umpire for the Baltimore Yankee game. That's later on tonight. Never mind. That's the Atlanta and San Diego, which may or may not be played. Check in and see what Kevin Roth has to say later on this evening. And then the Dodgers. Oh, Mad Bum. Extreme hitters umpire. Bumgarner versus the Dodgers. Spoiler alert. People are going to like the Dodgers tonight versus Madison Bumgarner. They should, at least. What else is the chat wants the dongs, right? They want Dean's dongs. Let's get some likes in there. I'll fire some off on the fly. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. If you want us to go like around the horn, you're like, why aren't you giving us your favorite play at catcher, at first, at second, at short? Well, we have Dave Potts, two-time millionaire winner. Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood. He's coming in just a second, as well as the Luuch, Justin Carlucci. Roth coming in about 10 minutes or so. They're going to go around the horn and give their favorite plays position by position. Yes, Hunter in chat, we are talking about the 3 p.m. slate. Later on this evening, we'll be talking about the night slate and NBA. We'll be doing a crossover show. Baseball will be first, and then we'll be bleeding into the basketball slate. But yeah, we're talking about the 6-gamer right now that tips off. That's basketball. 3:05, 3:10, give or take. You like firing off some homers, Bill? You like to just kind of like throw some darts? Who's going to bang one out tonight?
Yeah, sure. I'll happily do that. So first off on the list, man, give me my boy, Mr. Robert. I think he's going to hit one off Rich Hill today. Like him a ton. Very, very, very interested in that. In the Cleveland game, this isn't going to feel good because of the weather. But I didn't talk about this, but we like Savale, right? But I don't love Savale. What we've seen from him, he's got a lower K rate to righties than he does lefties, Dean. Well, guess who that's going to benefit? That's going to benefit our good friend, Mr. Rodriguez, right off the rip.
Okay, go ahead. I thought you were going to steal my guy. I have somebody in that game too, but go ahead.
So I like Mr. Rodriguez quite a bit here with Savale having a lower K rate to righties than lefties. And then, this one is a little bit more obvious, but Alvarez against Sonny Gray. And then in the Baltimore
Be ambitious.
game,
come on, Will. You're giving me the two best hitters in the slate. How about Aaron Judge, too? You want to call that one?
No. No, but I am going slightly off the board with the next one. Just when I looked at some numbers here, Dean, here's what I like. We're going to get Mr. Schmidt throwing curveballs, right? He's going to be throwing curveball. This doesn't seem like it, but Anthony Santander. No, wait. Ryan Mountcastle, yes. 61% contact rate, but he's got a 238 ISO. I think we've got a shot at a home run for Mr. Ryan Mountcastle.
All right, so let's see. I was going to fire off. I'm backing off that one now. I was talking all this smack, and I'm like, I'm not going to throw that one out there. It seemed a little bit ambitious.
But I didn't really go chalk because I don't think a lot of people are going to be on Julio today against Aaron Savale. That's not really a chalk home run call.
It's not. Well, he's just a really good hitter. It's like it's not necessarily people are going to be loading up on him. I think Judge is going to get a fair bit of ownership. I'm going to take Evander Suarez.
I don't think Robert or Robert is a a chalk home run call. Most people are they're not calling for him today.
I like to pick on the reverse splits of Aaron Savali. We have a lot of reverse splits pitchers in the slate, by the way. Aaron Savali, Giolito, Urquidy, Logan Gilbert, Sonny Gray, Dean Kramer. All of those are labeled large reverse split pitchers according to the bat, according to Derek Carty. And if the people don't know, the season's still early. You know, what does that mean when somebody's reverse splitsy? Generally speaking, a lefty. What? What's
this
what am I missing?
Graphic? Dean's dogs with the.
Oh, is this your first time seeing this? Oh no, yeah, it's not good.
Boy.
Oh, did all the Suns just get ruled out? What are we doing here as far as Phoenix? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be distracted.
Dean, baseball.
Yeah,
folks, if you don't know, Dean and myself will be returning for the nightcap later on today. We're bar hopping a little bit. We'll be returning for the nightcap to talk about said NBA and all the shenanigans that will take place. This will be a show for the ages, folks. Show for the ages.
all the Suns unlikely to play. Nothing official, but there you go. Love to see it. Love to see Lakers -4 in the middle of the night. That number looks pretty good. You got some, if nothing else, you got that closing line value, right? Which, what does that get you these days? Who knows? So reverse splits basically means that, generally speaking, right, a lefty pitcher is going to be better versus a lefty. A righty pitcher is going to be better versus a righty. But reverse splits means that a lefty is better versus righties. A righty is better versus lefties. And, you know, it doesn't happen terribly often. And I think like the cheat code is usually that means they have a really good curveball, like typically, not always. But speaking of those reverse splits, I'm going to pick one of the power bats for Seattle, picking on Aaron Savali on the right-hand side. And it's Eugenio Suarez. I was going to take France. You know what? I'm going to throw out 3, and I will take both Ty France and Suarez. One of them. I can't tell you which one. I'm sorry. You know, the Magic 8 Ball will only tell me so much. But one of those two, Ty France or Eugenio Suarez, will get a hold of one versus Aaron Savali. And I'll get one more in a second. I'm not sure where we're at as far as likes, but we'll muster one up in a second. Throw out some names in the chat. I want to see ownership-wise, by the way, see how spread out we are. Because this isn't like basketball where guys are like 70% owned as far as hitters. Certainly cash games, ownership gets condensed. But in baseball, you certainly can spread out anybody. You know, anybody's a tournament play and anybody can flop for sure. Wallace is talking about Alex Cobb in chat. Hunter's asking, yes.
Patrick Nadratowski. And I hope I pronounced this right. Patrick, if I did not pronounce your name wrong, just put like the dictionary version of your last name so I can get it right. I think it's Nadratowski. I could be wrong. He said there's nothing better than seeing Coors Field chalk fail. Biggest trap in MLB DFS. If anybody's been listening to me provide content or talk at any time, you know I am the ultimate Coors fade all the time. Because look, they're going to have 1 to 3 games a year where all the chalk and Coors is going to go off and they're going to have home
1 to 3? Come on, stop it. 81 games? More than 1 to 3.
Dean.
Go ahead, continue.
Okay,
that's ridiculous. I'll smash the over on 1 to 3.
Okay, Dean, here's what I'm saying. Their runs are scored in Coors, but oftentimes there are other stacks that are going to beat the Coors stack straight up. When I'm saying those 1 to 3, I'm saying those 1 to 3 where there's like 20 plus runs scored in the game, where you're not going to overcome the Coors bats on either side. Most of the time, Dean, and as a matter of fact, we can just start tracking this right now. Let's see how many times the Coors Field stack is in the winning lineup for any MLB DFS contest.
It's over 1 so far. Yeah, it's over 1. I mean, and also to be fair, like 2 terrible offenses played last night in Coors, and 2 terrible offenses played tonight in Coors, right? And we'll talk about that later on this evening. Worst pitchers too. Jose Urena, at least one of the worst pitchers. Gore, obviously an uber prospect. We'll see what he has tonight on the Coors slate. Ownership-wise, as far as the hitters, the biggest ownership we're seeing right now on your Chicago White Sox is Andrew Vaughn getting 21% ownership. Of course, plenty of power in that bat. Well-suited in that lineup in the 3 spot. Playing first, Rizzo getting 20%, Judge getting 20%. The Yankees certainly pretty popular. Conforto coming off an awesome game yesterday. Absolutely smashed Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn's fun to watch because that dude will drop some F-bombs. He does not care He just screams it after he strikes somebody out. If he gives up a homer. Lefties versus Lance Lynn is definitely a thing.
It's a national treasure.
It's Nick Cage is stacking against Lance Lynn with the lefties for sure. We do have crunch time coming in a few minutes. We got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. I believe this slate, he doesn't have to have the sweats of any sort as far as potential precipitation. But later on this evening, not sure if the situation has changed, but San Diego versus Atlanta. Atlanta always kind of dicey with their pop-ups. I think it's even worse with pop-ups. Last I saw, that was orange-yellow. Not sure if he's given that an update. Of course, we're about 5 hours to that game, so for sure. Stay tuned to Roth later on this evening. You got Dave Potts. Mentioned this earlier. More people kind of streaming in. Check out the musings. The musings are free today. The $1 Million Musings premium article. Absolutely implore you to read that. Producer Steve, if you can drop that link in chat for the people. Let them give it the read. And just not for this slate, also the night slate. Dave knocked out both slates. Got Luuch coming in as well in a few minutes. Anything else lurking in chat? What's on chat's mind as we sort of yield to, let's see. Crenshaw is saying Baltimore's not going to be low owned. Let's pull up the slate IQ and see where do we have as far as the ownership wise collectively for the Orioles? Have you taken a look at this, the slate IQ?
Oh, no, but I don't think they're going to be low owned. They're facing Clark Schmidt. They're at home. It's a 6-game slate, and the pickings are somewhat slim in terms of obvious stacks. Baltimore is the new eye candy this year. Everybody's going to play them against perceived bad pitchers. So, I mean, I don't think Baltimore is going to be talking. So here's what I do think. I think the ultimate contrarian stack today is probably the Phillies. To be like Hunter Green's going to get
I agree with that.
But if he gets erratic, he might not make it 5 innings. Like if he just starts throwing stuff all over the place. So I do think Philly is the ultimate contrarian stack because people are going to be on Green today. But it's really it's not that I don't think he could have a good day because he could absolutely mow this team down. It's really more about his control issues and the fact that the Phillies may only have to see him 4 innings. Like if he gets out of control, the Phillies could run away with this game quickly. So I like the Phillies as kind of you probably shouldn't stack them, but they could absolutely go off here.
Couple things. I would just say play the stack you like. There's not an incredible ownership on any team necessarily. Just play the stack. If you like a stack, play the stack. Don't run away because of ownership. The second thing, Josh makes an interesting point about Vaughn having 0 homers versus lefties last season. I'm looking at his plate IQ stuff, and this is the kind of thing Chief was referencing this team versus curveballs and versus splitters. There's everything you want in plate IQ. You can dive in and go in as deep as you want, but he was hitting the ball hard. So hard hit rate against righties last season. Now the ISO wasn't good because that kind of reflects the lack of homers. It's very, very low. Wasn't striking out, just 11.5%. So he's making contact, but his 38.8% hard hit rate's pretty good. So he's hit the ball hard, but he's not hitting the air. 32% fly balls. Here's the thing with homers. The ball's got to go in the air. And if you're not hitting the ball in the air, or unless you're not like Christian Yelich from 5 years ago, when you're homering the fly balls like 40% or something egregious, you're going to have your homers subdued. I wouldn't say you can't play him for this reason, but that's just interesting. I believe I hear some rumbling. I hear some new mics coming in. I see the picture of oh, wait. TJ. Is TJ hosting? TJ, you playing the role of Kevin Roth? Is that what's going on?
That's Luuch. Luuch is the role of Kevin Roth, I think.
No, I'm a terrible meteorologist, though, but I can exist and say
Can I just say one thing, too, before we hand this thing off?
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers for Edward Cabrera today, who got to face the Mets, and they just punched his face in with limited runs. They've only scored 2 runs, but my God, he couldn't get anybody out. 7 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2.2 innings, 85 pitches. Thoughts and prayers for Edward. He's not having a good year. And, man, the Mets gave him some trouble today. I want to watch that game, too, so I'll probably finish watching that when we get out of here. But
only been incredible. 2 starts. It's only been 2 starts,
No, but you get what I'm saying. Like that's hard to do. 7
Thoughts and
walks.
prayers already?
No, hold on. Jack Flaherty did this. Jack Flaherty threw a no-hitter. He gave up 0 hits. And he walked 7 guys. We're going to see him tonight.
But Flaherty finished 5 innings. This is 2.2 innings, 85 pitches, Dean. The Mets gave him serious trouble today. That's really all I'm saying. Like, that's almost hard to do. Wouldn't you agree, Dave? It's hard to go 85 pitches in less than 3 innings and give up 7 walks. Like, this is almost a phenomenon.
I could.
You almost have to do it on purpose. Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, wow, that's incredible.
What's up, Dave? I mentioned to the people earlier your article. I hope it was especially spicy today. You put enough dad jokes and some extra puns for the people. It was free. I'm sure you know today's article was free, and not just for this slate, the later slate as well. The people in chat, by all means, check it out. Dave, but we had a nice conversation about Coors Field. We'll probably talk about that later on tonight. Are you back for the back half of Crunch Time?
Yeah, I'll be here again in a couple hours.
You got any basketball takes for the people? It's a wild basketball
absolutely.
slate.
I'll be coming in hot with the hoops takes. Later's got
Basketball,
to figure out who's playing.
Basketball.
Some of these people are.
Psych out.
Hey, I will tell you on the basketball front, I went and saw Air yesterday because we had the night off for baseball. It was fantastic. If you like anything about life, go see the movie Air, and you will enjoy it.
It had like a 99% Rotten Tomatoes rating. It's
and that 1% is goofy. Whoever that 1% is just needs to stop trying so hard because it was great.
Thank you for
Marlon
reminding me of
Wayans,
that, Dave. I'm going to check that out for sure. I wanted to see that movie. It's been like being advertised on Amazon, so I will be hitting that one up. Good call.
Can check out our review for Air on agentsofandom.com.
Was your reviewer the 1% that said, nah, this sucks?
No, Ethan, one of our writers, Ethan Simi, put together the review. He's fantastic, but he adored the movie.
There you go.
Man,
it's hard to dislike.
Will, we got anything else before we step aside and make way for the Crunch Time crew?
No, man. They're going to give you some food for thought. See you later, Luuch. Love you, brother. Bye.
Later, Chief. You, Dean.
Shout out to the Food for Thought podcast. I'm going to step aside and make way for Crunch Time. It is the Luuch. It's TJ, and it's Cheese. Go for it, Luuch.
Cool. What's up, everybody? It is Friday afternoon, little lunchtime, crunch time. That was pretty good. That sounded pretty good. Lunchtime, crunch time. Nailing that.
I like it.
Coming in hot.
The hostess with the mostest right here. Roth is now out of a job after that little start.
Oh, no. I'm going to have to duck after that one.
How are we on the lunchtime weather?
God, now I'm digging my own hole here. So
yeah, you could do the Costanza and just leave on the high note. Be like, I'm out of here.
Good old Vandelay Industries. Anyway, it's good to be here. TJ and I did some baseball talk on the Fanduel Friday show, so we talked about some of that main slate. Definitely check out that video. The good thing about this early slate is we have a totally different set of baseball games to talk about. And before we get into this any further, and by the way, there is no Coors slate on this early slate, which is great. Check out Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked out Scores and Odds already, our MLB team is absolutely crushing it over there. A lot of picks every day. Check it out, scoresandodds.com. And, of course, FanDuel, our sponsor. You can sign up over there on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome offer. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. And let's see, the offer is not available in Massachusetts, but you still get a different offer. See, if you bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets. So that's not so bad either. So anyway, check out FanDuel Sportsbook. And now that we got that stuff out of the way, I think we can dive into some of the fun if you guys are ready to roll right into it. Hit that
I don't
like.
know if TJ's ready. Like, how comfortable is he? He's just like, hey guys, what's on? And I'm like, let's go. How are you, TJ? You look so like ready to go, just relaxed, like everything's fine. Don't you feel that way, Luuch? He's just like way too chill.
I'm ready. Like I've been in this chair all day at this point. I did the FanDuel Friday show with Luuch. I just did a NFL best ball draft over at Spike Week with our good friend producer Rob, and then it was Star Wars Celebration. It's Star Wars Celebration this weekend, so they're announcing all kinds of news and trailers. They announced the next set of Star Wars movies and all that good fun stuff. And so it's been a busy but fun day. I get to talk about all the things I love, sports and movies. So
that's a lot of things already. It's for it only being basically lunchtime.
Yeah, it's I'm thankful I'm not on crunch time this evening. I just get to make my MLB lineups and just hang out and sit back.
TJ that was his face when he was just sick of hearing me ramble about things. So I'm gonna stop talking soon, I promise. And we're gonna get into FanDuel pitchers first. And by the way, drop some questions in the Discord, MLB Crunch Time Discord. We will look there first.
We'll look there first, but we also do have a great QQ in the YouTube chat that I want to address before we get going. 75 likes, and we will get our Spidey Bomb. So make sure you get that. The Spidey Bomb's been interesting. We've been getting a lot of multi-hit games, getting a lot of RBIs, but we're cool on the home runs. So hopefully today we can make one happen with the Spidey Bomb and the QQ. I want to address.
I've never heard of the Spidey RBI bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Spidey multi-hit game. We got to get them start being the bombs. But the QQ from Chad is from Bob, and it's for Cheese. He wants to know, why are you bald?
Why?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people don't understand the relationship between amount of ice cream consumed and hair growth. But they do go in opposite directions. And so that's really all there is to it. The doctor told me very clearly, cut out frozen dairy and it'll grow back. And I was like, but I look fantastic.
It's true that Bob does agree. He asked, like, the screen has shifted around, but he did say Baldy in the top right is cute. So you were.
Yeah. Oh, he's not wrong. Yeah.
Man, we have all kinds of stuff going on here in this show, and I love it. And it kind of doesn't matter what you ask Cheese; he'll give you some kind of analysis about it. You can ask him, what pitching splits are, why he's bald, what genetics are, ice cream of the day. It doesn't matter. You're going to get a detailed response. So if that's not a testament to what we are about here at RotoGrinders, we'll give you the info, man. Talk to me about some FanDuel pitching, though, Cheese. Let's start there.
Yeah. So the big note here is that this FanDuel early slate is 4 games. And the DraftKings early slate includes the best pitcher and probably the second best tournament pitcher with Wheeler and Hunter Green. But we don't have those guys on FanDuel. So you're pretty much looking at Lucas Giolito, who's, theoretically, he's a strikeout pitcher and he's facing the Pirates. And that's all fine and good. But also he might not be very good. Like, he's all over the place. He's unpredictable. I prefer Alex Cobb. Honestly, even without the $1,100 savings, I prefer Alex Cobb. But that's your top 2. And then Jose Urquidy would be my third guy in the mix of who I'm playing. And that's all I would touch on FanDuel personally is Giolito, Cobb, and Urquidy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I just Googled Lucas Giolito hair and Alex Cobb hair, and they both have pretty solid mops, though.
Yeah.
So
that's a downgrade for sure.
Not sure if that affects anything. TJ has there quite a bit of it, actually. It's kind of jealous. Anyway, talk to me. FanDuel pitching here, buddy. What are you looking at?
So, believe it or not, as gross as it sounds, I actually really like Lucas Giolito today. He gets a pitching upgrade going to Pittsburgh. This Pittsburgh lineup has 5 lefties in it, and Giolito's quite reverse splitsy with not only his strikeouts, but his power as well. And we don't really have too many righties in this Pittsburgh lineup that we have to worry about. All the top bats are going to be hitting from the left side. And so, weirdly enough, I actually really like Lucas Giolito today with, like, McCutchen, Hayes, Joe, and DeLay being the only 4 right-handed bats for Pittsburgh. I think he's got a lot of upside in this spot, and with as good as he's been to left-handed bats, only a 115 ISO, 30% strikeout, almost 30% strikeout rates. I'm hoping that that'll work out today. But Giolito is going to be my favorite in just kind of overall, and then I would be mixing and matching Cobb and Savali and Gray in tournaments as well here, but and maybe even a little bit of Logan Gilbert, but it's Giolito number 1 for me by quite a bit, and then Alex Cobb number 2 for me by quite a bit.
And one thing I wanted to point out, looking at our ownership, I don't believe the Savali ownership. I think that goes mostly to Giolito, a little bit to Cobb, and a little bit to Urquidy and Gilbert. Like, if you're doing looking at ownership and saying, oh look, Giolito's not even that popular, I think Giolito and Cobb are the chalk. But it gets spread out enough that I don't think it really matters. So like as TJ saying, if you'd like Giolito the best, like you can lock button him and just say I'm going way ahead of the field.
Giolito, the rare kind of reverse split strikeout pitcher, strikes out like 28% of lefties, something like that. And I'm sure you wrote it up today, Cheese, so you're well aware of what it is.
I mean, it's he's one of those guys. Even he doesn't know until he starts the first inning if he's going to be good today or not. Like, but it's the kind of slate where it's not like there's any slate breaking arms out there. No, nobody's throwing a 15 strikeout no hitter. So even if he's kind of off, but picks up enough strikeouts, he's still almost certainly not going to hurt you. And he easily could be the top scoring pitcher.
Yeah. Probably more of a conversation to be had on DraftKings with the couple of extra games there. And of course, Hunter Green is always an adrenaline rush. Zach Wheeler getting a couple of expert tags there, going up against a pretty strikeout-oriented lineup. Big ownership number there on Wheeler as well. So let's start with DraftKings pitching now, Cheese. What's up?
Yeah, so basically it's those same guys, except Wheeler becomes the very obvious chalk and the best pitcher, and Hunter Green becomes probably the second most popular pitcher, which therefore does push down the ownership of Giolito for sure. So if you're a Giolito fan, I would actually like him better on DraftKings because he's kind of sneaky there. And while Hunter Green, I personally like Hunter Green better. Hunter Green is even less predictable. I don't think I need to say the word more. He's even less predictable than Giolito. No one can guess which Hunter Green is showing up today. So if you're going to take a chance, taking a chance on the lower owned guy makes just as much sense. But I'm on board with the Wheeler chalk. He's just better than everyone else. And I do like Cobb again as well, just because he's cheap. So like Wheeler Cobb would be my cash game combo. I don't play cash games, so I don't have a cash game combo, but that would be it if you're curious.
Okay. TJ, thoughts on DK pitching here?
We do have some really interesting high-end bats on this early slate. So if you're interested in loading up on the high-end bats and double paying down for guys like Green and Cobb, I think that's totally reasonable on this slate. Having said that, if you're kind of going with a stacking approach like I am, I'm going one lineup today on DraftKings, and my SP1 is Zach Wheeler. My SP2 is Lucas Giolito, just because I have the salary for both of those guys. I really like Giolito in tournaments, and then Wheeler, of course, is the top projected pitcher by a very large margin today. So kind of it's like Wheeler 1 for me, Giolito 2, Hunter Green in theory 2, but because I have the salary, I'm going up to Giolito. And then Alex Cobb 4, and I'm probably wouldn't get that much of too many other of these guys. Maybe a little bit of Savali, Logan Gilbert, because he's priced down on DraftKings. I'd get to as well, but I don't think I'd need to go below Cobb in any of my lineups today. Let's get up over 75 likes. Let's hit that like button so we can give away a Spidey Bum. I'll even put on the mask today. We got a few kind of common people in the YouTube chat that we always have, and then a few people I've never seen before. This message didn't even get through, but I can just see it held for a review, and somebody said, "You guys suck." And I gotta correct this person because
he's not wrong.
They can tell me, they can tell me I suck. They can even tell Luuch he sucks. I'm okay with that too, but Cheese is quite literally the very best at MLB DFS ever. So
well, you could go with you could absolutely go with the theory that everybody sucks. I would not argue.
I mean, if everybody sucks, then no one sucks.
Exactly. So he's all right and all wrong at the same time.
This kind of sounds like a world is flat take or something. You know, Kyrie Irving sitting out tonight, he might have fell off the edge of the world. I don't know. Why wouldn't he play with Luka Doncic? If you're into NBA, check out all of our crazy NBA content. Haha. Thank God the playoffs are almost here for that sport, by the way. Good luck on that one tonight, guys. Anyway, Clark Schmidt, I want this guy to be good. And I don't know if this is the matchup to do it. I think he's talented. He's very cheap. Everyone's drinking the O's Kool-Aid. The O's are very good. This isn't the O's lineup of 2 years ago. He's starting to throw a cutter this year. Didn't really have one. I think he threw it over a third of the time in his first start. Wasn't great. I think eventually Clark Schmidt's going to become interesting. I don't know if today's the day to do it. Probably not. But I think he's talented. That's all I wanted to add there.
No one is with you, but we're rooting for you.
That's because I suck. let's go on to FanDuel bats as I believe should cover that first, and then we'll talk about DraftKings bats, and they kind of go hand in hand, although there's a couple more games. So this smaller slate here, obviously there's going to be a lot more condensed ownership. So what's your first thought here, Cheese, when looking at this slate collectively?
Yeah, it's strange on FanDuel because with 4 games, and a couple of them are just obviously contrarian, like not a lot of people are going to be stacking the Pirates or the Royals. So like on the DK side, like Houston is my favorite team by far because they're kind of, I don't know if under the radar is the word I want to use, but under the radar-ish. But on FanDuel, like guys like Alvarez and Tucker at least are going to be really popular. The Giants, even if they hadn't scored 4,000 runs yesterday, would have been pretty popular. And they're so easy to fit on FanDuel. I think you're going to have to do something a little weird, either being stacking one of the teams that'll be a little sneakier, like Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, or just not like, just don't do a full double stack just because you can afford it. Throw in that random, leave off one of Alvarez and Tucker in your Houston stack and play Buxton instead. Just so you got something different because it's so concentrated on a 4-gamer.
Yeah. Picking on Aaron Seavell is the guy I always get wrong when I try to pick on him. It doesn't always work out. But
yeah, that's how I feel. Like both he and Urquidy are the same type of pitcher. Like they throw a bunch of strikes. On any given day, they could give up the 5 home runs and 12 hits just because the balls are going in play and they're going in the air, a lot of them. But they're also, neither of them are bad, like because they're not going to give out free passes. You do have to string hits together or get home runs to make it work, which for me means like on the Seattle side, I'm mostly picking out individual bats. Like I love Suarez today. I like Raleigh, certainly like Rodriguez and Ty France. I don't feel like you have to stack those guys all together because Savali is more likely to just give up a home run here and a home run there without putting a bunch of base runners on. So stacking wise, I prefer something like the Giants, but picking out home runs, Seattle's right at the top for me.
Yeah, you get the lefty bats again in the Giants lineup, at least for a couple of at-bats before one or two of them get yanked as per usual. We saw a couple of them do damage yesterday, that's for sure. And then JD Davis hit a grand slam off a position player, just how we all drew it up.
Right. That was the goal. Yeah.
Yep. Nailed it. TJ, FanDuel bats. What are you thinking?
San Fran was the stack I rolled with in GPPs yesterday. So, I guess I played 20 lineups and that was just my top lineup. So, never mind that part. It wasn't a single entry. Today it's single entry, but I'm going with San Fran again. That's definitely my top stack here, and Seattle is number 2. So I like the call about picking out some home runs there. I'm with the guy that Cheese mentioned. My favorite 2 are Suarez and Raleigh, and you can roll with Raleigh as a catcher even on FanDuel. I still think he's a very interesting play there. And then I even like kind of, if you want to full stack it, I really like the idea of going with a guy like Colton Wong and rounding it out with somebody like a Jared Kelenic today. I think that's a very high upside way to get difference in tournaments. So from a stack standpoint on FanDuel, obviously it's a lot tougher because there's a lot fewer teams. But on both sides, San Fran is going to be number 1 for me. And then on DraftKings, the Yankees are going to come in at number 2. That's where I'm going as a secondary stack in my lineup.
TJ, Patrick in the chat put you on the Mount Rushmore of DFS. That is really high praise. You better hook him up with a fruit basket or something. Get this guy's address and send him a thank you card. So
send him some Agents of Fandom merch, something like that. I'm definitely on the Canadian.
Oh, don't turn this into a self-promo
DFS
marketing thing. I said, give him a nice gift. Come on, man.
That isn't. Look behind me. Look how many nice gifts.
How about a cheese basket?
Yes. How about a cheese basket?
An ice cream basket.
Anyway. Yeah, tiny slate here. I guess we can backtrack and talk about DraftKings bats, and then we'll take some questions. Hopefully, you guys got some good ones for us. Some good Are You Bald questions, etc. We'll do the best we can to get through those. Drop your questions in the Discord, MLB Crunch Time, and then we'll jump on over here to the YouTube as well. We got a couple guys on the giant stacks in the chat here, and we will see how that turns out. Anywho, back to talking some DraftKings bats with a couple of extra games here. The Yankees are on this slate, and I'm sure we have to have a conversation about that, Chiefs.
Yeah, so just adding on these two games just completely changes everything about the slate because the Yankees become the chalk, and the Yankees become the top of the board spend-ups with like Judge and Stanton and Rizzo and Torres. And then Baltimore becomes on DK, they're super expensive, so even though everybody loves them and they're great, it's hard to fit them. So I think you can sneaky is never the right word on a small slate, but I think the Yankees take most of the expensive ownership there. But I like both sides of that game better than I like anything else that was on that FanDuel slate. With the note that on DK, the Giants are so cheap outside of Jock Peterson. I mean, you can get like Conforto's like 3,200 and Yaz is in the mid threes. It's really easy to fit them if you want to do like a double stack. And then in that Cincinnati Philly game, I mean, I wrote this in the article today and I will write it every time Hunter Green pitches. Like when he's on the mound, I will play him and I will play stacks against him. Like you cannot predict Hunter Green. He's going to strike guys out. He's going to walk guys and he's going to give up hard hit fly balls. If they land on the warning track, then he's great and he's the pitcher you need to have. If they go 6 feet further and land in the stands, then you need a Philly stack. Officially, I'm slightly more on the Hunter Green side today, but I mean I have Philly stacks early and fairly often.
Yeah, no, you hit it on the head there with the Hunter Green experience. It's kind of like in a parallel universe. It's like Robbie Ray Light, maybe. I mean, I play both sides of Robbie Ray when he pitches too.
Yeah.
There's so much hard contact when he gets.
I mean, he really is like Ray was. I mean, Ray is getting weird again, but he's like very much like Ray was 5 years ago when the Robbie Ray rule began. Like the guy who has strikeouts and walks and home runs, like that's exactly what is unprojectable because it's just a couple of feet here and there on these fly balls. And do those home runs come after the 2 walks or before them? It changes the whole game.
TJ, what are your interests here in the additional games we're adding on?
Obviously, the Yankees, I don't have Judge and Stanton on my main lineup right now, and that kind of terrifies me as I feel like they're the 2 most likely guys to home run on this slate. But the Yankees kind of add to my list of top stacks. San Fran is still the main one I'm rolling with in tournaments today. I like Houston. I like Seattle. I do think it's an interesting lineup build to roll with the kind of Alex Cobb, Hunter Green build, and then stack up Baltimore today as well. And then Philly, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to full stack Philly, even though a matchup against Hunter Green says to do it. I feel like I'm more likely to just take a shot on Schwarber as a one-off, or do like a mini stack of Trey Turner, Schwarber, and either like Real Muto or somebody like that. Should we do a quick? We've maybe had a little too much nonsense having fun with the chat. Should we do a quick position by position?
Your call. If you guys want to lightning round through it, I don't see a ton of questions. We could take them as they come in if you'd like. I did see one in the chat from Don Easy, our guy. Seaval or Cobb for DK? What are your guys' thoughts on that, real quick?
I strongly prefer Cobb.
Me too.
Okay, yeah. Drop some questions. If not, we're not going to waste your time. We'll talk about some position by position stuff if you'd like. Other than stacks, I just thought. Yeah, I thought a couple of these Cubs bats were kind of interesting. A couple of lefties. I mean, the Cubs aren't, super appetizing collectively.
That's not on. They didn't make it onto the slate.
Well, where am I looking at here?
That game starts even earlier than the slate.
Oh, good. Man, let's see if I'm right in real time, because I thought the lefties, Evaldi's kind of just a guy against lefties, so I was going to say Ian Happ, but damn it, all these games, all these random
It was all over the place. They had like a like at 1 o'clock and then at 2 o'clock and then a couple of 3 o'clocks, then like 3, 4 o'clocks. It's all over the board.
Ridiculous. And I'm trying to keep track of everything.
You can't be doing your best Roth impression without knowing what games are on the slate.
Well, I'll also mispronunciate quite a bit.
Mispronunciate, yeah. Mispronunciate, you will.
I'm off to a great start. Baltimore lefties. Are you guys on Baltimore lefties? Now we're getting some questions.
I so much love Rutschman, Mullins, Santander, and Henderson. Yeah, because like I said, the Yankees will take the ownership of those high-end bats. And that team is just good.
Okay. What about for cash games? Andrew Vaughn or Anthony Rizzo? TJ, got any lean there?
Rizzo by a lot.
Okay. Don't know what format, but CJM says Rizzo or Abreu choose.
Also Rizzo.
Okay. All right. Carry on. Since we're talking about first base, when you got him on the screen there, what else are you looking at here? I see Jake Berger has a couple of expert blips and write-ups there.
Yeah, it's not a deep position. Rizzo, I think, is far and away the best play. Vaughn is a little bit cheaper. On DK, you can play Jock Peterson at first as well, which is interesting if you're doing the San Fran stacks. They have a bunch of outfielders. I think Lamont Wade is the guy who's going to get pinch hit for the most, but we don't really know. It might just be who happens to be up at the wrong time. But I would rather play Jock than Wade. And then like guys like Mountcastle and Ty France are just kind of the way off the radar, mostly in a stack, but you can play them for one-off powered if you're jockey everywhere else.
Makes sense. TJ, got anything different at first?
No, that's mostly it for me as well. One guy I want to touch on, double touch on catcher really quick. I really, really like Cal Raleigh today, even as a one-off on DraftKings. And then Jose Trevino is going to be the other guy I go to down cheap outside of Adley Rutschman. And then at the first base position, Rizzo is my favorite by a long shot. Joey Gallo, I don't mind as a one-off today. He's probably my favorite one-off at the position. And then Jock Peterson on DraftKings, where he's first base eligible, is somebody I really like getting to as well.
Cool. I'm looking at second base, and Gleyber Torres getting some love here, Cheese. And what a start he's had to the season so far.
Yeah, he's far and away the best play. But he's priced accordingly. 5,100. You can't play 5K bats just across the board. But to me, he's such a standout. Like I would rather play him if it means I can't play Judge and Stanton. Not that I like him better straight up, but compared to the rest of the position, I do. And then I think David VR, just because he's batting third and he's cheap and we like the Giants, it's totally fine to save that money. But I like Torres.
Do you, first of all, do you have a horse and do you feed it ice cream?
Yes, absolutely. I have a horse. Not so much on the ice cream, but he does like his carrots to be on the cold side. So I could fool him with some orange ice cream.
What Yankee would you leave out of a stack, TJ, if you had to pick someone to exclude that's a decent bat?
For salary purposes, the one that I end up landing on leaving off is Judge, which terrifies me. But if I'm speaking optimally, the guy I'd probably leave off would be DJ LeMahieu. Quick
question for you, Cheese, from Aaron in the YouTube chat. Do you think Chicago will be overowned on DraftKings today?
No, I don't. Because really, like Anderson and Robert are kind of the only two that really jump off the page, and they're expensive enough that I don't think they end up jockey. Like I wouldn't get off of them because you're worried about ownership.
Cool. We got 2:57 Eastern, guys. Keep those questions coming and hit the like button. We'll keep moving around the horn here to talk about this slate as we all wrap up our lineups. Anytime you see Jose Ramirez on a short slate, he's probably going to carry some ownership, although it doesn't look like that's...
I don't think he is. I think he's the super sneaky expensive bat.
Yeah.
Because Cleveland as a team is not going to get that much ownership. So people who are stacking, they're going to want to spend for the Judge with the Yankees or the Alvarez with Houston. So, yeah, I think he's actually the lowest owned of the stud bats.
Kind of the same deal earlier in the week when he was coming out of the terrible ballpark in Oakland. No one was really on him there. Talk to me about the rest of the position, Cheese.
I think TJ and I both mentioned Eugenio Suarez already. He's my favorite one-off if you can't afford Ramirez, by quite a bit, actually. There's plenty of good bats here, as always. I mean, yeah, sure, play Bregman or even Jose Miranda I like, but mostly I want to either get up to Ramirez or I want to play Suarez. And then on DK, if you need Berger or VR for salary, that's fine.
TJ, anything to add on?
No, that's very similar to kind of how I'm feeling with it today. Somebody like a Gunnar Henderson, I like in tournaments, but the guy that I'm getting to the most here is actually David VR. I just find myself saving salary here quite a bit. Obviously, Jose Ramirez is a fantastic contrarian one-off. Yon Moncada is fine. Jose Miranda is fine, but the guy that I'm getting to the most is VR, and then the one I like the most for tournaments is Suarez.
Your dogs have barked the most during that stack.
They like third base. For sure.
Third base is a great position for the dogs.
During that notion, yeah, they love the third base.
They heard Berger.
Like Sonic, especially, he's great on the quick corner. And then when you bring in Berger, obviously, that's
what it was for sure. Yeah.
They heard ice cream first, and then Berger really got him going. But my thing here at shortstop is just going right over is I know Trey Turner has a very high salary, but we talked about the Jekyll and Hyde Hunter Green, and you might get 5-ish at bats out of Trey Turner at the top here. I mean, I love that ownership number on this slate for Trey Turner. I just know it's hard to get to, Cheese.
It is, except the 4 players below him are also over 5K. So, Gunnar Henderson at 44 is a little cheaper, but pretty much you're spending up at shortstop. And with most builds, like if you can spend 5,400, you can spend 61. So I agree. I like Turner a lot.
Yeah. TJ, anything else at shortstop you want to bring up? Or if not, we'll move on to the outfield as we kind of close the show out.
Anthony Volpe is somebody I'm getting to quite a bit on DraftKings as a last piece. Same with Tyro Estrada. I'm just kind of including him as my stacks. Jeremy Pena is a guy that I always don't mind playing, but Trey Turner is kind of the top guy on the board if you can afford him.
Cool. Maybe I don't suck so much after all. Outfield, Aaron Judge, big chunk of ownership, big salary, like you mentioned, TJ. Short slate, it's bound to happen. Ton of options here, ton of power bats here in the outfield that you might be interested in paying up for. Cheese, what are your thoughts here? You don't have a blip next to Cedric Mullins, but everybody else does.
Yeah, see, I don't at 5,700. When you can play Buxton or Judge or Schwarber or Robert or Alvarez or Stanton or Reynolds or Tucker, I don't know why Mullins stands out more than any of them. That's why you don't see me with a tag on any of those guys on this first screen, because they're all essentially the same super fantastic play. Like I love every single one of them. And I think to try to pick out one of these guys and say that's the guy is absurd. If you need me to pick one out, I will. It's Alvarez. But that is absurd. But Alvarez and Tucker are where I'm going if I just have to pick. But I love every single one of those guys.
You don't suck, Luuch. You're just absurd.
Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hey, I'll take whatever I can get at this point, I guess. So, give me an absurd outfield take, TJ.
Well, what I want to say before we go to TJ, when I scroll the screen down just slightly, the next player after those 5,500 guys is Michael Conforto at just 3,200. He's going to be chalky. He's got the rainbow at 3,200 and is similarly projected to all the 5K guys. Now, all right, go ahead, TJ.
If you're doing a little San Francisco mini stack and you have the salary, it's only $500 more, and you want to get your lineup a little less chalky, get Yastrzemski in there instead of Conforto, less pinch hit risk, and very likely, or not very likely, but like a guy that could easily score the same amount of points as him at less ownership today. If you want to get crazy with it, if you want to look a little lower than Yastrzemski in the price range, I really like Jared Kelenic today. He came into the league and he was just terrible, but he's been doing a lot better as of late. Hits righties hard. And he's somebody that I don't mind getting into my lineup today as a salary saver. He's a speedy guy, and new bases and the new rules will benefit him there a little bit. My main stack here is I'm just kind of loading up. Like I was choosing, do I want to load up on the Yankees outfielders and go expensive here with cheap pitching? Or do I want to go expensive pitching and load up on these San Francisco Giants outfielders? That's probably going to be a pretty common question today for people. So make sure you find a way or two to differentiate your lineups. But up top, my favorite guys are the Yankees. Down low, my favorite guys are going to be San Fran. And then in terms of some ways to differentiate, I like Seattle, I like Baltimore, and a guy like Kyle Schwarber today I think makes for a very interesting outfield play.
Our lone question in the Discord is not if Aaron Judge is going to hit a home run, it's how far is it going to go?
743 feet.
I was going to say 417.
Yeah. Like, it's going to go a ways. Yeah.
That's fair. Just figured we'd answer every question that we received today just to make it formal.
I would love to give a Spidey bomb here, and I can even make sure it's not from these first games that are locking, but we still need like about 27 more likes.
Apparently the people don't want it, TJ. You're just going to have to take it on the chin and try again on crunch time, not crunch time, lunchtime, whatever you want to call it, dinner time, crunch time in a few hours. So
I'm not back for that one, so it's a tough day without it. Yeah, it is a very interesting slate tonight. For somebody asked this earlier, Cheese, and Luuch and I gave them our takes in chat, but just in case they can't come back for crunch time tonight, on FanDuel, who's your cash game pitcher, Woodruff or Kershaw?
You know, I don't want to say that I've decided yet, because I will reiterate, I don't play cash games, and so I don't have to decide. And I know that on DraftKings, it would be both of them together. Honestly, I think I would go Kershaw. Like I don't think you need to try to squeeze the extra theoretical upside in the tougher matchup. Like, to me, Kershaw is just so much safer. Like the chance of Kershaw getting blown up is smaller than any other pitcher. Like, he's not who he used to be, but he's just absolutely amazing in real life baseball. So I will lean Kershaw in cash games on FanDuel.
We have hit roster lock 3:05 Eastern, and tonight's slate will be jam-packed with Coors Field, a couple high-end pitchers, a couple pitchers with a lot of question marks surrounding them. I think the Chris Bassett Angels matchup is intriguing because I just don't know. I just don't know about that one. I know TJ's a Toronto guy, and I'm sure you have a Chris Bassett take in $1 Million Musings, which I didn't get to yet, Cheese. But
it's in there. You'll like it.
Okay, good. Because I'm looking at his stuff, and it's like velocity's down, gave up a ton of barrels, didn't strike anybody out, but he gets the Angels. It's almost like the Chris Sale Tigers let me see you do it game yesterday.
Except the Angels are good.
Except the Angels are good. Yeah. Should be a lot of fun.
I'm letting you in on the secret already.
I love it.
The secret being play the Angels.
Check out $1 Million Musings. If you like Angels takes, if you like horse ice creams, if you like bald, check out $1 Million Musings.
If you like bald.
You like bald.
Just if you like bald, you know, whatever you're into. I'm sure $1 Million Musings has it in there.
Cheese, what do you think Torres is owned at second base on DraftKings?
In like smaller field stuff, like 50%.
Large field, $15 main tournament. 50K to first.
35.
14.
What?
14% Gleyber Torres.
I would have locked him. I mean, not really. I would have gone 80%. That's wild. Well, I guess that's where people are saving their salary.
Yeah, crazy.
To me, that's where I was spending my salary. But
checking just like some smaller field stuff to see here if it's kind of where it differs. Smaller field thing, he was 20% owned. So I didn't do any high dollar stuff for this slate. It might be lower in high dollar.
I'm gonna check because that's wacky. It's good wacky, and I love it.
Yeah.
See in the 555, got 25% on Rizzo, only 20% Torres. I am officially thrilled.
Yeah, nice. 20, and that's in mine. It's 20% Rizzo, 15% Torres. So feeling good about that start, and kind of wishing I would.
Yeah, does anyone? I don't have DJ LeMahieu's ownership because I played 0. I hope people played DJ LeMahieu instead of Torres. That would be truly glorious.
Well, good luck, fellas. I hope the Yanks put up some runs. The right Yankees put up some runs for you. And before we get out of here, TJ, how many likes were you reaching for to give a Spidey Bomb? We got 50. Were you looking for 50?
I wanted 70. I wanted 70, and we didn't get it there today. But a guy we pumped up, and it has not hit lock yet. That I think is going to hit a home run today is going to be Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, that's the lunchtime crunch time home run of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it, man. At least I did something right. I made something
that was Dean's pick, so it's not going to hit.
Oh,
damn it!
Bummer. I got to get him out.
My idea recently was to have a Dean mush on the CVR rankings where he can just put the guys he mushes, so you know like who you should one off with your stack. So Suarez for 2 bombs today, or no bombs, -2 bombs today. I guess I should say.
It'll have to be Jock Peterson who hits a home run now.
All right, well. I need some caffeine because I just keep saying words that aren't really stringing anything concrete together. So I'm going to go get a coffee. We're going to prep for some more content here. You guys will be back later. And thank you guys all in the chats for sticking with us.
Stop trying to bring me back. I'm not coming back.
Come on, man. We need you back. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Go do your thing. Anyway, for Cheese and for TJ, and I think that was producer Steve, the Tilt King. I'm the Luuch, not Kevin Roth. We'll see you later.